A Silicon Valley tech CEO checks his phone at 6 a.m. to discover his $50 million Indian investment has been frozen overnight. Not due to market volatility or regulatory compliance, but because of a calculated response to Trump's latest immigration crackdown. This isn't a random corporate drama. This is India executing the most sophisticated economic retaliation strategy the world has seen, and American businesses are about to learn why you never corner a tiger. If stories like this fascinate you, hit that subscribe button now, because what I'm about to reveal will change how you see global power forever. Trust me, mainstream media won't tell you what really happened behind closed doors. The shock hit American boardrooms like a financial tsunami. December 2025 marked the beginning of what trade analysts now call the Great Recalibration. Mark Thompson had spent 3 years building his automotive supply chain in Chennai, investing $12 million to manufacture precision components for Tesla and Ford. Then came the notification that changed everything. Regulatory review pending, operations suspended indefinitely. 48 hours later, his contracts were terminated. Mark wasn't alone. Across India, American businesses discovered their operations facing sudden scrutiny, their permits requiring additional documentation, their partnerships under unexpected review. Oxford Economics released a study showing a 23% spike in U.S.-India trade disruptions during this period, but the numbers only tell part of the story. Behind each statistic was a calculated decision, a precise response to Trump's announcement that H-1B visa approvals would be cut by 60%. But this was just the warning shot. For decades, the United States had treated Indian talent like a resource to be extracted when convenient and discarded when politically expedient. Trump's H-1B restrictions affected 85,000 Indian professionals annually. Priya Sharma embodied this human cost perfectly. After 8 years in San Francisco developing artificial intelligence systems, Priya received her deportation notice on a Tuesday morning. Despite her PhD from Stanford, her 3 patents in machine learning, and her $180,000 annual salary, she was suddenly classified as non-essential. Priya's story multiplied across 85,000 families, creating a reservoir of educated, highly skilled professionals who returned to India carrying both expertise and resentment. India's response made Washington's power brokers panic because it targeted American vulnerabilities with surgical precision. The first strike hit where America least expected it, the pharmaceutical sector that had become dependent on Indian manufacturing expertise. Without fanfare or dramatic announcements, India quietly restricted U.S. pharmaceutical patents worth $8.7 billion, claiming the need to protect domestic healthcare access. Johnson & Johnson discovered this new reality when their exclusive rights to a breakthrough diabetes medication were suddenly under review by Indian patent authorities. The same drug that cost American patients $340 per month could be produced by Indian generic manufacturers for $30. MIT researchers found that Indian generic alternatives cost 89% less than their U.S. brand name equivalents while maintaining identical therapeutic effectiveness. American patients, already struggling with prescription drug costs, suddenly found themselves caught between Trump's immigration policies and India's pharmaceutical retaliation. That's when Modi played his digital ace card, and the tech industry realized the true scope of India's leverage. New data localization laws required all user information from Indian citizens to be stored on servers physically located within India. This sounds bureaucratic until you understand that it effectively banned U.S. tech giants from accessing the world's largest digital market outside China. Amazon Web Services lost $2.3 billion in cloud contracts overnight, as Indian companies were required to use domestic alternatives. Google faced restrictions on data collection that made their advertising model unworkable. Facebook discovered that their user engagement algorithms violated new digital sovereignty requirements. Sarah Williams, a startup founder who had built her social media platform around Indian user engagement, watched her business model evaporate when her platform was banned for non-compliance with data protection standards. Her 2.3 million Indian users, representing 67% of her total audience, were suddenly unreachable. Her venture capital funding dried up within weeks. But the nuclear option was still coming, and when it arrived, even Trump's most confident advisors began questioning their strategy. India's announcement of a $150 billion renewable energy partnership with China sent shockwaves through American energy companies who had assumed they would dominate the global clean energy transition. ExxonMobil had spent 18 months negotiating a $4 billion deal to provide liquefied natural gas to Indian power plants. The contract was scheduled for final signing when India's energy minister made a devastating announcement. All new energy partnerships would prioritize strategic allies who demonstrated mutual respect for sovereignty. The International Energy Agency confirmed what American executives feared most. India controls 67% of the global solar manufacturing supply chain. Their decision to partner exclusively with Chinese companies meant American renewable energy projects would face component shortages and price increases that could delay the clean energy transition by years. The domino effect proved even more catastrophic than the initial retaliation. Brazil, Indonesia, and South Africa began implementing similar restrictions on U.S. tech companies, citing India's success in protecting digital sovereignty while maintaining economic growth. This wasn't coincidence, but coordination. Apple discovered this new reality when manufacturing deals across 3 continents suddenly became unavailable. Their supply chain, carefully optimized over decades, faced disruptions that threatened their ability to meet global demand. McKinsey released a study showing that U.S. companies could lose $89 billion in emerging market access if these restrictions became permanent. The desperate phone call that changed everything happened at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, when Trump's trade representative placed an emergency call to Indian officials begging for a meeting to clarify recent policy changes. The desperation was palpable, the power dynamic completely reversed. India's response was diplomatically polite, but strategically devastating. They would be happy to discuss normalizing economic relationships. But first, the United States needed to demonstrate good faith by reversing the H-1B visa restrictions that had started this entire confrontation. The diplomatic humiliation was complete when the former U.S. ambassador to India admitted publicly that we underestimated their resolve and overestimated our leverage. Intelligence reports later revealed that India had been planning this coordinated response for 18 months. American retirees like Robert Martinez discovered the personal cost of this economic warfare when their prescription medications became unavailable due to supply chains disruptions. Robert's diabetes medication, manufactured in India, was suddenly classified as export restricted. His monthly costs jumped from $45 to $340 overnight, forcing him to choose between medication and rent payments. This is exactly the kind of analysis you won't find in mainstream media. Subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss these game-changing stories that reveal how the world really works behind the headlines. The reversal that shocked the world came too late to prevent lasting damage. By March 2025, Trump's team announced a recalibration of immigration policies, quietly restoring H-1B visa processing to previous levels. But trust, once broken, proves difficult to rebuild. Indian companies had already signed contracts with Chinese partners and established new supply chains that bypassed American components. Goldman Sachs projects that the U.S. tech sector faces a $340 billion revenue shortfall by 2026 if these restrictions become permanent. More significantly, India's alternative alliance has gained 27 new member nations, creating a parallel economic system that operates independently of American approval. India had demonstrated something unprecedented. A developing nation could successfully retaliate against American economic pressure without firing a shot or breaking international law. They had turned America's own dependencies into weapons, using market access and supply chain control to force policy changes in Washington. The sophistication of India's response revealed years of strategic planning that American intelligence agencies had completely missed. While Washington focused on military threats, India had quietly built economic leverage that proved far more effective than any weapons system. Trump learned that economic wars have no winners, only survivors. But here's what I want to know. Do you think America walked into this trap? Or was India's response inevitable? Drop your thoughts below, and let's see if you can predict the next country that might pull a move like this. Your answer might reveal more about the future of global power than any government report ever could.